Hey guys, welcome to your asynchronous day. So today we're going to learn about the Pythagorean or the Pythagoras theorem. Over 2,000 years ago, there was an amazing discovery about triangles. When a triangle has a right angle, which is 90 degrees, and squares are made on each of the three sides, so say we had a square A for side A, square B for side B, and then we had C, okay, A, B, and C, then the biggest square, which is in this case, has the exact same area as the other two squares put together. It's called the Pythagoras theorem, and it can be written in one short equation. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Okay, and we're going to be using that a lot today. Okay, so on our notes in day 65, okay, let's start out by identifying the parts of a right triangle. Sides A and B are known as the legs. And side C is called the hypotenuse. Hypotenuse. Okay, the hypotenuse is always the side that's directly across from the right triangle. Because a lot of times your triangle might, you could have your triangle be upside down. Okay, in that case, the C would be over here, or if it was tilted, you always look for the right triangle square indicator, and then across the way you have the hypotenuse. Okay, the two sides, it doesn't really matter which one's A and B. Okay, the Pythagorean theorem is used to find the missing side length on a right triangle. And the formula that we use is A squared plus B squared is equal to C squared. Okay, so we can prove that a triangle is a right triangle by plugging in the values for A squared, B squared, and C squared. Okay, so if I'm given three sides of a triangle, all right, I can identify first my C value because my C is going to be the longest, which is 17. Okay, my A can be 8, my B can be 15. So if I plug these values in, I get 8 squared plus 15 squared is equal to 17 squared. Okay, so I'm going to prove that this is a right triangle. So 8 squared is 64 plus 225. And let's see if that equals 289. Okay, well, when we add those together, we do find indeed that 289 is equal to 289. Okay, so that would be a right triangle. So let's do the same for the next one. First, I identify my A, B, and my C. I find the C is the easiest, which would be 12, the biggest one. I've got 5 and 9. So if I take, again, let's write it down, A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So our A is 5. We're going to square it, plus 9. And does that equal 12 squared? Does 25 plus 81 equal 144? Okay, in this case, we get 106. Does that equal 144? No, it actually does not. So this one would not be a right triangle. So this is no. Okay, this first one was yes, it was. All right, so if you want to pause the video and try the next two and then see if you got the right answer, we're going to identify our A, B, and C. Okay. So we've got 7 squared plus 24 squared. Does that equal 25 squared? So we have 49 plus 576. And does that equal 625? Well, when we add 49 to 576, yep, we got 625 is equal to 625. Okay, so we know that's a yes. Okay, now this one, our A is 10, our B is 14, and our C is 18. So we plug in A squared, 10 squared, plus 14 squared. Does that equal 18 squared? 100 plus 144. Does that equal, 14 squared is not 144, it's 196. I was thinking 12. Okay, let me erase this. Okay, so it's 100 plus 176. Does that equal 196 rather? Does that equal 324? And actually, when we add it together, we get 296, and that does not equal 324. So this one's a no. Okay, so that's how we prove to see if the three sides make a right triangle. Okay, but we can use the Pythagorean theorem to find the missing side length, and then we're going to round the answers to the nearest tenth. So I'm going to write this down. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay, so if I look at number 5, I'm going to identify my a is 8, my b is 7, and my c is going to be the x. Okay, so a squared would be 8 squared plus b would be 7 squared. Okay, and does that equal x squared? Okay, so that's what we're looking for. We plugged it in. We've got 64 plus 49 is equal to our x squared. 64 plus 49 is going to be 113. 113 is equal to x squared. Now we want to know what just x is, all right? So in order to do that, we need to take the square root of both sides. When we find the square root, we find out that our x is equal to 10.6. Okay, and it's going to be inches. All right, so we just found the missing side. So again, in number 6, again, we're looking for the hypotenuse. Notice, because it's across from the little square, so this is our c value. So we're going to start out and we're going to say 15 squared. Let's say this is our a and this is our b. So 15 squared plus 18 squared is going to be equal to x squared. So we have 225 plus 324 is equal to x squared. We add them together and we get 549 is equal to x squared. But since we want just x, we're going to take the square root of both sides, and we find out that x is approximately 23.4, and it's 23.4 feet. Okay. So moving on, number 7. Now look at number 7. Right away I notice that this is my c side, so that's the hypotenuse. I'm going to make with number 7, I'm going to make a be my 3, and then b is what we're looking for. Okay, so when we do this, we've got our x squared, or one side we could say a 3 squared, okay, plus x squared is equal to c squared, which is 11 squared. It doesn't matter, again, which one's your a and your b. Okay, so 9 plus x squared is equal to 11 squared, which is 121. So our whole goal will be, we want to isolate our x value. Isolate x squared, and then take the square root. All right, so in that case, let's subtract 9 from both sides. And we end up with x squared is equal to 112. And then we take the square root of both sides. So our x is going to be equal to 10.6 centimeters. All right. So with number 8, okay, again, I identify my c, which is across from the right angle. So when I do that, I'm going to say, okay, I've got my x, so I'm going to say x squared plus 24 squared is equal to 30 squared. Okay, so it's important to set it up. Notice your c value is the hypotenuse. Your unknown in this case would be your a. Okay, so we have our a, our b, and our c. Okay, so with number 8, we want to say that it's x squared, and 24 squared is going to be 576, and that's going to be equal to 900. So when we isolate our x squared, that means we subtract 576 from both sides, and we get x squared is going to be equal to 324. We then take the square root of both sides to get x by itself, and when we do that, our x is going to be equal to 18 yards. All right. So number 9, you might want to try 9 by yourself. okay, pause the video. Again, I like to identify my C first. I'm going to let this be my A and this be my B. Okay, so when I plug it in, I've got 12 squared plus x squared is going to be equal to 20 squared. 144 plus x squared is 400. I'm then going to subtract my 144 from both sides, and I get x squared is going to be equal to 256. So to get x by itself, I need to take the square root of both sides, and when I do that, I get my x is equal to 16, and in this case, it would be inches. Okay, so with the Pythagorean theorem, we can also use it for word problems. So with word problems, it really helps to draw a picture before setting it up. So the first one says, find the length of a rectangle that has a diagonal of 25 feet and a width of 15 feet. So if I draw my rectangle, okay, my diagonal is what goes from one side to the other. So this is going to be 25 feet, okay? And it has, so we're finding the length, and the width is 15 feet. So we can say our 15 is here, and what we're looking for would be right here. Okay, so our right triangle would be like that. So this is our x right here on this side. This is what we're looking for. So once we set it up, okay, we can say that x squared plus 15 squared is equal to 25 squared. So that's the hard part, is just setting it up. Now we solve it. All right, our 15 squared is 225, and 25 squared is going to be 625. We isolate our x variable by subtracting 225 from both sides, and we get x squared is equal to 400, and we then take the square root of both sides, and when we do that, our x is going to be equal to 20 feet. So we found the missing side. Okay, the next one, it says a 20-foot ladder is leaned against a wall. Okay, if we lean a ladder against a wall, okay, there's our wall. We know there's our right angle there, okay, and it's 20 feet, so our hypotenuse is actually 20 feet. If the base of the ladder is 8 feet from the wall, so this is going to be 8 feet, how high up the wall will the ladder reach? So that's our unknown, our x variable. So then when we set it up, okay, we can say that x squared plus 8 squared equals 20 squared. Okay, whoops, and 8 squared is going to be 64. And that's going to be equal to 400. We then subtract 64 from both sides, and we get x squared is equal to 336. And we take the square root of both sides to isolate x. Our x is going to be equal to 18.3 feet. All right. So the final one, George rides his bike 9 miles south. Okay, so here's George. All right, he's going 9 miles south, going down 9 miles, and then he goes 12 miles east. So that's 12. Okay, how far is he from his starting point? Okay, so this would be the distance from his starting point. So this is our right angle. So our x is actually the hypotenuse. So n squared plus 12 squared would be equal to x squared. So we're really looking for the c, or the hypotenuse. 81 plus 144 is going to be equal to our x squared. Okay, we get 225 when we add that. That's our x squared. And then to isolate x, we take the square root of both sides. Our x is equal to 15 miles. Okay, so what I want you guys to do is the exit ticket that's in day 65, and then you can work on your homework, which is 65B. Okay, all right, I hope everybody has a good day and a good weekend. Bye.